Ladies and gentlemen, we are tracking the big story breaking from Maharashtra at the top of this evening. It's a big setback to NCP Supremo Sharad Pawar. The Election Commission, in a 141-page order, has awarded his estranged nephew, Ajit Pawar, the party symbol. That is the clock. The Election Commission says that the test of legislative majority helped the Ajit Pawar faction clinch the symbol. The fight for the symbol had been ongoing for the last 6 months. Let me go straight across to Siddharth Talia, who is joining us on the broadcast. He's in fact read the entire copy of the Election Commission report that is out, the order that is out. Siddharth, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Could you take us through what exactly the Election Commission has said, the reasoning that it has given, Siddharth, to give the party symbol of the NCP to Ajit Pawar?
So, Shreya, what's ultimately tilted the scales in the favor of the Ajit Pawar faction of the NCP is the fact that his party, or his faction rather, had a legislative majority and also majority among the members of parliament. Now, there's a three-test rule that the Election Commission tried to apply in this particular case. I'll just take our viewers through what those three tests actually are. The first is the test of the aims and objectives of the party constitution. The second is the test of the party constitution. And the third is the test of the majority. So what the Election Commission found was that both the factions of the NCP had failed on the first two tests, which is the test of the aims and objectives of the party constitution and subsequently the test of the party constitution. And it was in the third test, which is the test of the majority, that the Ajit Pawar faction came out trumps. And therefore, I'll just read out the operative portion of the order of the Election Commission here, which ruled in favor of the Ajit Pawar faction. It says the total number of legislators, including members of parliament, MLAs and MLCs belonging to the NCP, and this is both factions taken together, stands at 81. On behalf of the petitioner, who's Ajit Pawar in this case, a total of 57 affidavits of support had been filed. Whereas on behalf of the respondent, who is Sharad Pawar, a total of 28 affidavits were filed. However, as seen from the table, and they've actually affixed a table on top of the order, the MLAs and one Lok Sabha member of parliament have submitted affidavits in support of both the factions. Even if the support of the 6 legislators, which is 5 MLAs and 1 Lok Sabha MP, who submitted affidavits for both the factions are taken into account, for respondent's faction, which is Sharad Pawar, the petitioner would still have a numerical majority with 51 out of 81 legislators in the legislative wing of the party, while the respondent, who is Sharad Pawar in this case, will have the support of 28 out of 81. So it's 51 as opposed to 28 in Ajit Pawar's favor, which is completely ensured that the Election Commission has ruled in his favor in terms of allotting the clock symbol, the all-important clock symbol, and therefore Sharad Pawar in this particular instance finds himself isolated because it was only a minority of legislators, be it members of parliament, MLCs or MLAs, who actually voted in his favor or submitted affidavits of support in his favor, while the numerical majority went to the Ajit Pawar faction.
So essentially, to cut a long story short, Siddharth, then, Ajit Pawar has walked away with the party and the symbol. But the timing is crucial here, and the Election Commission mentions it, in the verdict they have put out. They're talking about the Maharashtra elections, and I believe they have given some time to Sharad Pawar to form his own party. What was that about? Could you just explain to our viewers what that is about? What does Sharad Pawar do from here on?
Yeah, so there are a couple of elections to be kept in mind. It's not just the Lok Sabha, but also the Rajya Sabha elections are imminent.
Correct.
And therefore, this is what the Election Commission had to say in its order in paragraph 141. I'll just read that out to the benefit of our viewers. It says, in the present matter, the imminence of the Rajya Sabha elections, which is not specifically accounted for in the above order of the Commission, becomes a special circumstance and thus requires de novo consideration in view of elections to 6 seats of the Rajya Sabha from the state of Maharashtra to be notified on the 8th of February 2024 with regard to the voting by MLAs in elections to the Rajya Sabha, and then they enumerate what the situation is. The special circumstances which has come into being triggers a peculiarity as to whom the MLAs of the faction led by the respondent, who is Sharad Pawar in this case, would show their vote in terms of provisions of 39AA of the conduct of election rules for the forthcoming Rajya Sabha elections. Such circumstances create a fair and equitable case to invoke para 18 13 of the symbols order. Accordingly, therefore, the Commission provides a one-time option. This is what you were alluding to, Shreya, to the respondent for the purposes of the forthcoming election to the Rajya Sabha in Maharashtra to claim a new name to the new political formation and provide three preferences for the purposes of the biennial election to 6 seats in the Rajya Sabha from Maharashtra. The applications for the same must be received latest by 1600 hours, which is the 7th of February, which is tomorrow by 4 p.m. Failing which, the MLAs claiming allegiance to Shri Sharad Pawar faction will be treated as independents for the purpose of Rule 39A of the Conduct of Elections rules. So therefore, keeping the Rajya Sabha elections in mind, Mr. Sharad Pawar, in a special circumstance as an exception made, is provided the opportunity of forming a new party with a new name preferably and showing letters of support in the build-up to the Rajya Sabha elections.
Siddharth, thank you very much for joining us here at the top of 8 and breaking down what exactly the order means. Thank you very much for joining us. Going straight across to Dr. S.Y. Quraishi, who is joining us on the broadcast. Dr. Quraishi, there are some, it's of course a 141-page order. We've not had the occasion to read the full thing because it is just about come, the news just about breaking. Siddharth has read out the operative portions. Would you say ye to hona hi tha? This was obvious given the fact that Ajit Pawar, we've seen it with the Shiva Sena as well. We've seen it with the Shinde faction as well. If you have the, if you have the legislative majority, obviously the party and the party symbol is going to go to you, irrespective of the fact that you'll be taking away the party symbol and the party from the man who actually formed it many years ago.
Of course, the history of the party is immaterial. When a dispute arises that there are two factions, and the number one, Election Commission doesn't jump into it suo moto. Somebody has to go to the Supreme Court in an appeal, and Supreme Court gives Election Commission then gives notice to the other party to give a response. I was not even aware that this dispute was going on. It has come to me as quite a surprise. And therefore, in any case, what the rules are, that if this dispute goes before the Election Commission, they go by what is called para 15 of election symbols order of 1968, according to which they go by the rule of majority and numerical strength. And there also there are two things: one, MLAs, MPs, and MLCs, and in the organizational structure where the office bearer, these two things have to be seen. And the Election Commission then comes to a conclusion which party is, they don't say which party commands the majority. But of course, that is understood. Whosoever is the majority is declared the party, that is the party. The other one becomes irrelevant. In this case, they have declared Ajit Pawar faction as the party. Now, just now I was hearing the exception which has been made. Obviously, in such a case, the party which has been left high and dry has to register itself as a new party and with a new name and a new symbol. Normally, a new party, new symbol, new party takes about 30 days, minimum 30 days, 30-40 days. But the Election Commission has made an exception. But tomorrow, it is willing to give a name and symbol to this new faction, to the remainder of the party. So, and this decision of Election Commission is considered to be final. The case has been questioned right from its inception in 1968. It went up to Supreme Court. In 1969, the High Court came to the, the Supreme Court came to the conclusion that it is not a private property which can be distributed between two claimants. So it goes in entirety to one side, which is what has happened now.
Okay. Let's quickly listen into some sound bites that are coming in, and then I'll go to my other guests for what their perspective is on the story that is breaking from Maharashtra. Let's quickly go across to those sound bites. Okay, we are seeing. Okay, the traditional laddus making it to the cameras. That's the Ajit Pawar faction in celebration mode. Mr. Sanjay Hegde, would you want to come in here as a lawyer? The NCP was founded in 1999 by Sharad Pawar, Tariq Anwar and P.S. Sangma. And today, after 24 years, Mr. Sharad Pawar is being told, well, the party doesn't belong to you. It belongs to Ajit Pawar, your nephew. But the fact is, Ajit Pawar has the numbers, the legislative numbers. There's nothing you can do about it.
It's not only the legislative numbers. Sometimes the Election Commission also looks at the party constitution, the membership of the party, but most political parties rarely keep records of who their members are and whether somebody is an active member or not. So based on the evidence before the commission has taken a decision. And as Mr. Quraishi was telling you, this has not been unknown. When the Congress, the original Congress split into the Congress O and I think what was called the Congress R at that stage, then the old symbol of the twin yoked bullocks, that came into question. And even though I think it then went to the Supreme Court in what's called the Sadiq Ali case, and though the Election Commission did give the gave fresh symbols to both of them, ultimately it's the people who decide. Now, one little thing about symbols. Symbols were very important during the first elections to the country, which were in 1952. Mr. Sukumar Sen, the first election commissioner, brought symbols because a large portion of the country was illiterate and therefore they needed to identify parties through symbols. Today, that's not so. A large portion is literate. A very large portion is constantly on its phones, on its social media and everything. So they do know who the candidate is and which party it is that they're voting for. The symbol, to that extent, there will be an emotional connect as far as party workers are concerned, but the general public often knows. So the Congress itself, after it then went to from the twin bullocks, it went to a cow and calf. After the cow and calf, again, there was a split. The Congress went into the hand symbol. And people who wanted to vote the Congress I voted for the hand. So the symbol is emotional, yes. But in terms of actual politics, it is the public who finally decides who is the real party.
Nilesh Tribhuvan, do you agree with that? Essentially what Mr. Hegde is saying, all right, in the first election in the country, the symbols were important because people were illiterate. They required that symbol to identify with the party. But now if it happens, if the symbol is taken away either from Uddhav Thackeray or in this case from Sharad Pawar, it's okay. It really doesn't make a difference because people will vote for who they want to vote for.
I belong to Maharashtra. Whatever we have seen up till now in Maharashtra politics, be it Uddhav and right now this NCP's judgment also. So I believe this time people not going to look at the symbols. People will only look at the faces and then going to vote for it. Because being a Maharashtrian, being a Mumbaikar, I don't even remember now what is the new symbol of Mr. Uddhav Thackeray. But I may remember his face. I may not remember his symbol at the moment. And of course, there are considering this is this is unique scenario which has occurred very recently. I have not gone through the detailed order in NCP's matter, but I'm aware about the Shiv Sena's order. Now the legal remedies are available for both the parties, but elections are approaching anytime soon. So I don't think so the court will come for anybody's rescue. So they'll have to rebuild the entire party over the person's face itself, and rather than going for the symbol.
Okay, Mr. Quraishi, before I let you go and post that question, I'm going to wrap this discussion because we want to talk about the UCC now. But Mr. Quraishi, I quickly want to ask you then, can the order, the Election Commission order, be challenged in court, given the fact that the Election Commission itself thinks that there is no scope for challenge because they've given time until tomorrow, 4 o'clock, for Mr. Sharad Pawar to register a new party with a new name?
Well, anything done by the Election Commission can be challenged in the Supreme Court, and it has been challenged over a period of time, right from the Sadiq Ali case. So, of course, it can be challenged. But the election symbols order very clearly says that the order of the Election Commission is final and has to be accepted by all the parties. On the basis of what Mr. Hegde was saying, you would notice that the Congress was split twice, and every time Indira Gandhi fought on a new symbol and won hands down. Therefore, the importance of the symbols to that extent is very limited. It didn't matter. She came on a absolutely new symbol, she won. Another time, another symbol, she won. So therefore, and in this particular case, the constituency is not illiterate and common voters. It's only the MLAs, handful of voters. They will surely know who's the candidate, what is the party. It's easier.
Okay, Mr. Quraishi, thank you very much. I think I can quickly get in Clyde Crasto from the NCP, from the Sharad Pawar faction, that is, and I'm sure the party will have a new name by 4 o'clock tomorrow. Clyde, are you taking some comfort from what Mr. Hegde and what Mr. Quraishi are telling us on the show, that beyond a point the symbol really doesn't matter? But I'm sure it is a setback, right? I mean, you guys have had this symbol for the last, Mr. Sharad Pawar has had this symbol and the party for the last 23 years or so. Now the Election Commission saying, sorry, the clock symbol doesn't belong to you. If legislative majority is with Ajit Pawar, the symbol will belong to him. The party will belong to him. The name will belong to him.
Well, I'm very happy that you mentioned 23 years, that the party symbol is with Mr. Sharad Pawar and the president is Mr. Sharad Pawar. But let me correct you, a very small correction. With almost 25 years that the election symbol and the Nationalist Congress Party was led by Mr. Sharad Pawar. And we will continue to work with him, continue to fight with him. The point here is very, very clear. We now know who the Election Commission of India is working for. Now, let me tell you another thing. It was very clear. There was a Supreme Court order that you cannot go by the legislative majority. Okay, in the Subhash Desai case, it is clear. Now, if these people have gone ahead and given the Ajit Pawar group, the breakaway group, which was formed just a few months ago, and given them the symbol and the party, we know that where it's working, where they're working for. The fact of the matter is, all this has happened despite we giving all the documentation. The whole country knows who the president of Nationalist Congress Party is, who the clock symbol belongs to. But today, the Election Commission has gone ahead and given it to the Ajit Pawar group. And that too, just 8 days before, the Speaker of the Vidhan Sabha in Maharashtra has to take a decision, which makes it easier for him. So all this looks like a very pre-planned thing, because even the leaders from the Ajit Pawar group were always taking, names and saying, on so and so date we will get our symbol and this is ours and everything. So it was all worked out very well by them. We know, see, the BJP and its allies do not want an opposition. Therefore, they are trying to decimate everybody. But let me tell you one thing very clearly. We are going to fight back. We are not going to keep quiet. For us, our president is Mr. Sharad Pawar. We will work under him and we will continue this fight. By taking away our symbol and taking away our name, they think they've got victory. No. At the end of the day, the people of this country will decide who the victors are. And let them decide, because they can see what is going on right now. First it was the Shiv Sena. Now it's the Nationalist Congress Party, our party, which they've worked on like this and broken. Does not matter. We will come back strongly. We'll keep fighting. And all the legal remedies that are there, all the possibilities that are there, we will continue taking that.
Okay, Clyde, we'll leave it there. Do we have Mr. Quraishi? Because I probably want to put what Clyde is saying to Mr. Quraishi. All right, I did thank him earlier today. Mr. Hegde, would you want to respond to that? Is that a tad unfair to the Election Commission to, attribute motive to them? They've sat on they've looked at the matter for 6 months. There have been 10 hearings now. And for the Sharad Pawar faction to say, we now know who the Election Commission is working for, is that even fair? Given the fact, now he can quote whatever Supreme Court order that he wants to quote, but fact is, logic and common sense will tell you that if Ajit Pawar has legislative majority, if most of the MLAs and MPs are with him, then he is the party. And the symbol goes to him.
No.
To attribute motives to the Election Commission, is it a tad unfair?
See, mere legislative majorities are not enough to give the symbol. Because legislative majorities are from the past. Who is the party with? The majority of the party. But then there is always this problem of recording, most parties do not keep membership records. And so whatever is the evidence before the commission decides. And sometimes it decides because it just has to decide one way or the other, and then say, okay, if you have problems, go to court further. Now, as far as the record of the election commission is concerned, well, a lot of the opposition seems to have various problems with the election commission, and especially in Maharashtra. So the Uddhav Thackeray faction has also said it. There's a whole host of people who say that they have doubts about the election commission's insistence on EVMs. So let me put it this way: the credibility of the election commission today is not the credibility which a TN Session or a JM Lingdo commanded. As to why it is, the present incumbents of the election commission must ponder.
Nilesh Tribhuvan, would you want to come in here? And I'll wrap this discussion in 20 seconds.
I believe I absolutely agree with Mr. Sanjay Hegde. Whatever he has said, I'll just adopt that. I'm sorry, I'm not well versed with the facts of this particular case because I've been just told 5 minutes
No, don't worry.
to join
The
this.
story
so I
just
could not get
came.
time to prepare myself.
No, I get it because the story is just about breaking. We're just about getting the details. We thought this was important to discuss because we've always associated the NCP with Sharad Pawar, and today the Election Commission is telling us Sharad Pawar is not the NCP anymore. It is Ajit Pawar. So is it a setback for him? Yes, it's a setback for him. But do symbols matter beyond a point? Well, emotionally they do. In the times we live in, perhaps not. We'll leave it there for the moment, gentlemen. I'm sure there are more details that will emerge on the story. For the moment, I'm slipping into a quick break on the show. Up next, we are discussing something that we invited all our guests to discuss, the Uniform Civil Code that is currently being discussed in Uttarakhand. That's coming up next. Do stay with us.